What if the SUV you're about to spend 40, 50, even $70,000 on turns into your biggest financial regret? It happens more than you think, and in 2026, it's still happening. Today, I'm saving you from that mistake. Here's the truth nobody at the dealership will tell you. Not every SUV deserves your money. Some of these vehicles look incredible in the showroom, drive smoothly on the test route, and come loaded with features that sound impressive on paper. But once you sign that contract and drive off the lot, that's when the real story begins. In this video, I'm breaking down the 3 worst SUVs you should absolutely avoid in 2026. Models with serious reliability problems, poor value, and ownership nightmares that'll drain your wallet fast. But I'm not leaving you empty-handed. I'll also walk you through 4 outstanding SUVs that genuinely deliver on every promise: comfort, performance, reliability, and value. By the time this video ends, you'll know exactly what to buy and what to run from. Let's get into it. First on the avoid list, the Volkswagen Tiguan. From the outside, it looks like a confident, well-built European SUV. The design is modern, the badge carries prestige, and the starting price of around $33,000 sounds reasonable for what's being offered. But spend a few months with one, and the cracks start showing, literally and figuratively. Let's start with the oil consumption problem. Tiguan owners across the board report having to add oil multiple times between scheduled changes. We're not talking about a minor top-off. Some drivers are adding 3 full quarts between 2 consecutive oil changes. Volkswagen's official response? They consider this within normal range. That might be technically acceptable to an engineer, but for someone paying over 30 grand for a family vehicle, it's completely unacceptable. Then there's the third row. Volkswagen markets the Tiguan as a 3-row SUV, which sounds great for families until you actually try to sit back there. Adults are essentially folded in half. Taller passengers have 0 legroom and barely any headroom. For a vehicle at this price point, that third row is essentially a marketing illusion. The infotainment system adds to the frustration. The touchscreen interface is confusing to navigate while driving, requiring too many taps and swipes for basic functions. That's not just inconvenient, it's a genuine distraction behind the wheel. And the driving experience itself? Owners describe the engine response as either sluggish off the line or unpredictably jumpy. Never quite right, never quite satisfying. One verified owner put it this way: they described ownership as a complete nightmare, mentioning they had to add 3 quarts of oil between their first 2 services and said they'd never buy one again. That's not a one-off complaint, that's a pattern. Even the fuel economy, rated at 26 miles per gallon combined, fails to stand out in a segment where competitors offer better numbers alongside better reliability. The Tiguan simply doesn't earn its price tag in 2026. Avoid it. Next up, and this one might surprise you, the Ford Explorer XLT. The Explorer has been an American staple for decades. It's a household name. But in 2026, the XLT trim specifically has become one of the most disappointing purchases in its class, especially when you consider its price tag, which regularly climbs past $40,000 and in higher configurations pushes towards $70,000. The most consistent complaint from owners is mechanical unreliability. Multiple buyers report their Explorer spending extended periods at the dealership, sometimes weeks at a time, waiting on back-ordered parts. For a vehicle that's supposed to be a dependable family hauler, this level of downtime is a serious problem. Step inside and the disappointment continues. The interior materials feel surprisingly cheap for the price, plastics that look budget grade, surfaces that show wear far too quickly, and a third row that's genuinely uncomfortable with hard, under-padded seating. Families are the target audience for this SUV, yet the people riding in the back are the ones suffering most. The hybrid transmission compounds the issue. Owners describe gear changes as clunky and unpredictable, an inconsistency that makes city driving particularly frustrating. And if you spec it with larger wheels, the ride becomes noticeably stiff and harsh on anything less than perfect pavement. One owner who paid nearly $70,000 for their fully loaded Explorer XLT shared a review that stopped me cold. They said the leather seats looked visibly worn within just a few months, and they felt embarrassed driving a vehicle that felt decades old inside despite the brand new price. Fuel economy? 24 miles per gallon for rear-wheel drive and just 23 for all-wheel drive. In this segment, with this price tag, those numbers simply don't hold up against the competition. The Ford Explorer XLT has a legendary name, but in 2026, that name is carrying a vehicle that's falling well short of expectations. Don't let brand loyalty cost you. The third SUV to avoid in 2026 is the Hyundai Kona. At first glance, the Kona looks like a smart buy. It's compact, stylish, and comes in at an approachable starting price. For budget-conscious buyers, it seems to tick a lot of boxes. But look closer and you'll find a vehicle with problems that go well beyond minor inconveniences. The most alarming issue is reliability, or rather the lack of it. Owners across multiple model years report frequent breakdowns and system failures that show up far too early in the vehicle's life. Some buyers have been forced to resell their Konas within the first couple of years after dealing with relentless issues. For a vehicle positioned as a practical, everyday commuter, that kind of track record is deeply concerning. Ride quality is another sore spot. On rough roads or uneven surfaces, the Kona feels unstable. Drivers describe it as shaky and jerky, a driving experience that becomes exhausting on longer trips and uncomfortable for rear passengers even on short ones. Parts availability makes the situation worse. When something goes wrong, and based on owner reports, something usually does, getting it fixed isn't straightforward. Spare parts are frequently back-ordered, leaving owners without their vehicle for weeks, sometimes months. That's not a minor inconvenience. That's a vehicle you literally cannot rely on. Even small design details frustrate owners. The interior control lighting is poorly executed, dim and hard to read at night, turning simple tasks into squinting exercises every time you drive after dark. One owner summed it up in a way that's hard to forget. They said buying the Kona was their biggest regret, that parts were impossible to source, customer service was non-existent, and the ownership experience had been defined by recalls and frustration from day one. Yes, the Kona does get decent fuel economy, 29 miles per gallon in the city and 34 on the highway. But savings at the fuel pump mean nothing when you're spending that money and more at the repair shop. In 2026, the Hyundai Kona is a risk not worth taking. All right, now that you know what to avoid, here's the part you've been waiting for. These next 4 SUVs are the real deal. Each one brings something different to the table, but every single one delivers where it matters most. Reliability, value, and an ownership experience you'll actually enjoy. Let's go! Starting the best of list with a vehicle that quietly outperforms everything near its price point, the Subaru Crosstrek. What makes the Crosstrek special isn't one big flashy feature. It's the combination of everything it does right, consistently without asking for much in return. Standard all-wheel drive on every single trim is the headline. Most competitors at this price charge extra for AWD or offer it only on higher trims. Subaru includes it as standard, giving you better traction, more stability, and genuine confidence in rain, snow, and slippery conditions without paying a premium. Fuel efficiency is solid too. 28 miles per gallon city and 34 on the highway, keeping running costs low without sacrificing capability. Inside, the cabin is straightforward but genuinely comfortable. There's enough room for passengers and cargo to coexist without anyone feeling cramped, and the layout is clean and intuitive. No overcomplicated touch controls, no confusing menus, just a well-thought-out space that works. Where the Crosstrek really separates itself is off-road readiness. Higher ground clearance and Subaru's capable traction system mean this compact SUV handles dirt roads, trails, and rough terrain far better than you'd expect at this price point. Real owners back this up. One buyer who switched from a larger SUV said the Crosstrek was exactly what they needed. Smooth on the road, confidence-inspiring in bad weather, and genuinely comfortable on longer drives. Starting at just $26,540 and equipped with Subaru's full safety suite, including automatic emergency braking, lane departure warnings, and adaptive cruise control, the Crosstrek offers rare value. Reliable, capable, and honest about what it is. That's exactly what a good SUV should be. If the Crosstrek is the smart compact choice, the Toyota RAV4 is the gold standard of the mid-size segment, and the 2026 model proves exactly why this nameplate has earned its reputation year after year. Space is where the RAV4 immediately wins. The interior is genuinely roomy, passengers aren't squeezed, cargo isn't an afterthought, and everyday life fits inside this vehicle without compromise. Whether it's sports equipment, grocery hauls, or road trip luggage, the RAV4 accommodates it all while keeping everyone comfortable. On the road, the driving experience is consistently smooth and refined. The cabin stays quiet at highway speeds, the handling feels composed and predictable, and the overall experience is one of confidence rather than effort. Long drives don't feel long in a RAV4. Safety is thoroughly covered. Standard features include automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, and adaptive cruise control. Optional upgrades like blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert add further layers of protection for those who want them. Fuel economy rounds out the package impressively. 28 to 30 miles per gallon combined for an SUV of this size is genuinely competitive, reducing fuel costs without requiring a compromise on performance. One owner, 1 month into driving their 2026 RAV4, said they couldn't find a single thing wrong with it, describing it as comfortable, smooth, and complete, with highway passing power that felt effortless. At a starting price of $32,550 across a wide range of available trims, the RAV4 gives buyers flexibility without confusion. It's a vehicle that does everything well and almost nothing poorly. In 2026, it remains one of the most well-rounded SUV purchases you can make. If your family needs space, the Kia Telluride doesn't just meet that need, it exceeds it in a way that makes SUVs twice its price look overrated. The Telluride's 3-row configuration is the real thing. Unlike the Tiguan we discussed earlier, the third row in the Telluride is actually usable. Adults can sit back there for real trips, not just short errands. Combined with front and second row comfort that feels genuinely premium, the entire cabin is a pleasant place to spend time. Performance is handled by a smooth V6 engine that provides confident power in everyday driving while supporting a towing capacity of up to 5,500 pounds. That's a combination you don't often find at this price, refinement and capability in the same package. Speaking of the interior, it punches so far above its price point that first-time buyers are often genuinely surprised. Premium materials, thoughtful layout, quality stitching, and a design that makes it feel like you're sitting in something that should cost significantly more. The Telluride starts at $39,500 and it genuinely feels worth every dollar. Safety technology is comprehensive. Forward collision warning, automated emergency braking, and lane keeping assist all come standard, with intuitive systems that enhance confidence without overwhelming the driver. Fuel economy sits at 20 miles per gallon city and 26 highway for the front-wheel drive model. Not class-leading, but for a three-row SUV with this level of refinement and capability, it's an entirely fair trade-off. If your priority is space, comfort, and value in a family SUV, the Kia Telluride belongs at the top of your shortlist. Last on the best of list, and arguably the most underrated recommendation here, the Mazda CX-50. If you've ever wanted the feeling of a premium European crossover without the premium European price tag, the CX-50 is your answer. The optional turbocharged engine is the performance highlight. It delivers quick, responsive acceleration that makes merging, overtaking, and spirited driving genuinely fun, something that's rare in the practical compact SUV segment. This is a vehicle that actually rewards the driver, not just transports them. Step inside and the quality speaks for itself. Leather upholstery, aluminum trim accents, soft touch surfaces, the level of material quality inside the CX-50 rivals vehicles that cost significantly more. It's a cabin that feels considered, not assembled. For those who spend weekends outdoors, the CX-50 offers more off-road capability than most crossovers in its class. Higher ground clearance and advanced traction technology make light trail driving and adventurous weekend trips very much within reach. One owner of the Premium Plus trim put it perfectly. They described the CX-50 as feeling like a high-end luxury vehicle, powerful in sport mode, packed with technology, and reminding them of their previous BMW at a fraction of the price. That's the kind of review that says everything. Safety features are comprehensive. Emergency braking, lane keeping assist, and adaptive cruise control all come standard, and fuel economy at 24 city and 30 highway keeps daily running costs sensible. Starting at $35,200, the Mazda CX-50 delivers a driving experience, interior quality, and capability that genuinely competes with vehicles in a much higher price bracket. It's the kind of SUV that makes you feel like you got away with something. In 2026, the Volkswagen Tiguan, Ford Explorer XLT, and Hyundai Kona all carry real risks that could cost you serious money and serious frustration. On the flip side, the Subaru Crosstrek, Toyota RAV4, Kia Telluride, and Mazda CX-50 each bring something genuinely worth your investment, whether that's affordability, family space, off-road capability, or premium feel. The right choice comes down to your priorities. But now you know which vehicles will actually deliver on their promises and which ones will leave you regretting the decision. Which of these SUVs is calling your name? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if this breakdown helped you make a smarter decision, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video like this one. See you in the next one.